What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel and thank you all for tuning in. As always, really appreciate each and every one of you. It's your boy Matty B, and for today's video, we're going to do a preview for round 15 of AMA Supercross that's going down in Philadelphia this weekend. And for this week's topics, we're going to get into Chase Sexton and some new rumors surfacing that he may not stick around to finish out his Cowie deal. The new two-horse race for the 450 championship between Hunter and Roczen, the 250 East championship potentially being wrapped up around early, the return of Justin Barcia, the SMX Next finale, the possibility of a MUDDER, and of course our track preview, our track breakdown, our virtual POV lap from MX Simulator, and the fun stuff, my predictions for what I think's going down this weekend. But before we get into all that stuff, you guys know the deal. Got to give a huge thank you and a shout out to my channel sponsors. Wouldn't be able to do all this stuff without them, so please do me a favor and go check them out. These videos would not be possible without ASV Inventions, home of the Unbreakable Lever, and the new S1 Series Single Pivot Adjustable National. Serious Studio, they can take care of all your merch needs from hats, sweatshirts, shirts, bags, etc. And of course, the DesignLabCo.com, they got some great designs in their lab at their co, and if you need anything graphic related, then definitely look no further than there. I've got links, discount codes, and all that fun stuff in my video description, and if you guys buy from them, a small portion of the sale goes to me to help keep the channel going. So if you guys are supporting them, you are literally supporting me. Hope you enjoy the video, and thanks again for watching. Alright, our first topic for today is going to be Chase Sexton and Kawasaki, and it's definitely not a secret that this hasn't exactly been the dream season that they were looking for when Chase signed with Kawasaki. But he has a 3-year deal, so he kind of has no choice but to stick around and figure it out, right? Well, maybe not actually. Now we have some rumors surfacing from Steve Mathis in his observations column on Racer X, where he said that after talking to some people close to Chase Sexton's camp, that for the first time he is now convinced that Chase and Kawasaki will not make it through their 3-year partnership. And how insane would that be? 2 big-name signings leaving early 2 years in a row would be a horrible look for the boys in green. I know they're working their asses off, they got multiple test riders, they're throwing the kitchen sink at this thing, but something is just not clicking over there right now. Besides Anaheim 2, Chase has not looked like himself all year long, whether it be in qualifying or the main events, hitting the gate, or anything like that. I feel like we've kind of been waiting to see that Anaheim 2 form return for the rest of the season, and we just haven't seen it. So these Sexton and Kawasaki split rumors are simply just rumors for now, but oftentimes in this industry where there's smoke, there's fire, especially when it comes from a good source like Mathis. He even mentioned that there's a cowboy with a Yamaha team that will do anything to get what he wants, which he was referring to Star Yamaha as a possible next landing spot for Chase. It seems like he's right about this stuff a whole lot more than he's wrong, but I hope he's wrong on this one. This would be just yet another team switch for Sexton, who just can't seem to find a bike he's happy on. I've already talked about the PR disaster that this would be for Kawasaki, and something tells me this situation may not get any better outdoors either. Even though he handled it poorly, I have heard a lot of talk about Prado saying that the bike was better in Supercross than it was in Motocross, and with Chase already kind of struggling with it in Supercross, I'm not thinking that's a great sign for the outdoors this summer. Maybe we'll see him get back, quote, banged up, like last year if things aren't going good for the first few rounds. Maybe none of us have a clue and he's going to show up at the Fox Raceway and take everybody to Gapplebee's. I don't know, this is a crazy dynamic that I did not foresee coming this year, but I definitely think it's something to stay tuned to. Now let's get into some championship talk. We got some battles down the stretch for these last 3 rounds, and starting with the 450 class, unfortunately now it's down to a 2-horse mono-y-mono showdown between Hunter Lawrence and Ken Roczen. Once Hunter caught fire, it's really seemed like he's been the best guy this season, but ever since the break, Ken Roczen has been on a roll, and he's 100% shutting up people like myself who have said he's going to fade late season. He's as good as ever right now. It really sucks that this thing's only down to 2 now after Eli Tomac's Cleveland qualifying crash, but it was looking kind of bleak for ET before that crash anyway. But all it was going to take was one good race and some momentum, and he'd been right back in this thing, and Hunter did give him the perfect opportunity to do that had he been able to race in Cleveland. Disastrous triple crown for Hunter while Roczen brought home another win, and this thing is just down to 1 point now. It's going to be an awesome story for either guy if they win. Roczen's been through hell and back, while Hunter would finally be stepping out of Jet's shadow and become a 450 champion. Man, there's a lot on the line here. My brain thinks Hunter's going to get this thing done, but my heart wants to see Roczen finally get this thing done after all these years, and he'll be doing it with a damn Kickstarter. I might have to finally tone down my Suzuki jokes unless he loses his title by the amount of points he lost sitting there kicking that hog in Seattle. Really hope it doesn't come down to that, but I do think it's going to come down to the final laps at the finale in SLC. Hell, I might have to head out to that thing. And as for Tomac, it's Thursday afternoon, and I still haven't seen or heard anything on his condition and whether he's going to be racing in Philly or not. You never know with Tomac, they keep it pretty tight-lipped over there in that camp, so he could just show up Saturday morning and say, yo, I'm racing, no choice. But yeah, as of now, we're not sure whether he's going to be back this weekend or for the rest of the season or not, or even outdoors actually. I feel like ET's future is very up in the air. Stay tuned. And then there's the 250 East Championship that I thought was going to be the banger of all bangers this year, but it's kind of turned into a runaway national that could even be wrapped up around early this weekend. With 2 rounds remaining, Cole Davies has a 21-point lead over Seth Hammaker, so if Cole wins the race and Seth is third or worse, then Cole's going to wrap this thing up 1 round early on Saturday in Philly. Hammaker's been going full Benjamin Franklin mode, doing everything he can to challenge Davies every weekend, but even faster qualifying times at several rounds just haven't quite been enough to handle the Kiwi Wonder Kid. Seth has had a few things happen that have taken some points from him, like the last lap crash and the penalty in Nashville, along with the first turn crash in the final Cleveland Triple Crown Moto, but that's why we drop the gates, that's why we go racing. Anything can happen, and it pretty much has. And even if you take away all those Hammaker missed points opportunities, Cole would still have a nice lead in the points right now, and you just can't take anything away from the total domination this year. I thought he would be one of the favorites coming in, but I clearly forgot just how unreal he was last year because the same guy is back and even more improved. He's a generational talent. Changed my mind. If everything goes like it should, then I feel like Davies and Hammaker should go 1-2 this weekend, which would keep the title alive until the finale, but now we've had Nate Thrasher coming on strong. Dax Bennick has been solid all season long, and you can never count out the Club MX Yamaha boys to Simonson and Schock. Bennick should be able to keep control of third in points. He's got a pretty good grip on it, but 4, 5, and 6 are still heavily up for grabs between Nate Thrasher, Cody Schock, and Devin Simonson. Wherever you look, there's going to be a battle somewhere. Keep your head on a 360-degree swivel because epic action is definitely about to be in our contract. Last week I talked a little bit about how I was possibly going to be fake news after talking about how Justin Barcia was going to be out until outdoors, and now my fake news title is official because Justin Barcia and the Ducati 450 will be back in action for the final 3 rounds of Supercross. I had only seen videos of him riding outdoors, and when I was out west, that's all I saw him do in person as well, but Bam Bam hopped back on an SX track, and he must have felt decent because he said, "Sign me up, put me in, coach." So nice to see this after the scariest crash I have ever seen in person at a Supercross. Not sure what the expectations are going to be, but I'm sure some gate drops before the start of Pro Motocross are going to be very valuable. It's always hard to jump back into the class mid-season, especially on the 450. And this isn't exactly mid-season either. This is like the very end of the season, so everybody else is probably almost burned out in their groove while Barcia is fresh, so this thing could go one of 2 ways. He's fresh while everybody else is burnt, or he's rusty while everybody else is firing. Regardless of which of those happens on race day, I'm sure we're going to hear the revs, see a couple of slams, and just be glad to have a good dude in the sport back in the mix. I'm thinking a top 10 would for sure be a win, and anything from 10 to 15 is kind of what I'm expecting. The dude's been off for a long time, but you never know with Barcia. He's aggro, and if he came out hot and surprised us, I don't know if I'd be too surprised. Now we'll switch gears a little bit off the top pro guys because this weekend in Philly we have the SMX Next Championship finale going down, and it's a stacked invitational national. We've seen a few different winners so far this year in Cade Manier, Deacon Deno, Vincent Way, and Caden Dudney, but the last guy on that list is not going to be racing, along with his teammate Landon Gordon, who just went from SMX Next contender to 250 Supercross podium finisher in the span of a couple weeks. That's an obvious testament to the level these kids are already at in SMX Next. Looking through this list, you're going to see tons of future podium contenders or champions in their last steps before they get to the pro ranks in Supercross. I think it would be cool if they did SMX Next races as a point series across all the rounds so the kids could kind of learn what it's like to race in a series, but they don't, and SMX Next is 1,000 times better than what any of us had to get ready when I grew up. Such an awesome opportunity for the kids to get their feet wet, and this weekend, the pressure is going to be on big time because it's a winner-take-all for the SMX Next Championship. Last year, Club MX's Alex Fedorcov didn't win a single race all year, but he won the finale, and he was crowned champion. So just like him last year, there are definitely a handful of kids on this list that could pull it off, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of the Club MX Yamahas doing it again. They could go from 0 wins to champion. For the championship, I'm looking at guys like Vincent Way, Deacon Deno, Cade Johnson, Ryder Malinowski, Justin Turner, Landon Gibson, Wyatt Thurman, and Cade Manier as all the main guys I could see grabbing a win in this finale, but the SMX Next kids tend to be looser than Jared's pants after the Subway diet out there, so you never know. You could see a total underdog steal it out from under all those guys. Buckle up, because this one is likely to be the wildest race of the weekend, and it could be the best one too. Last topic before we get into the track breakdown and my predictions is the possibility of a MUDDER for the second weekend in a row. Earlier in the week, the weather was looking pretty bad, looking like a biblical national with tons of rain in the forecast, but day by day, it's gotten a little bit better, and now it's not looking too bad at all with a chance for maybe a 1/10 of an inch or two. And this isn't the SMX Track Crew's first rodeo either. I'm sure they've already got it all covered up and ready for action on Saturday. The only kryptonite for the track crew is when it rains during the actual race. There's not as much they can really do about that compared to when it rains in the days leading up to the race, but doesn't look like it's really going to be much of a problem. I don't think they're going to get enough rain to do much damage, and if Cleveland was any indicator, then I think it's going to be just fine, maybe even Teddy City. It's going to be crazy if we actually get through this whole season without a single mud race, but I guess we got to take it while we can get it. Supercross is way more fun to watch when it's not a quagmire 2 miles an hour national. The forecast is still changing, so it could go back the other way and could get worse, but if I had to guess, I don't think there's too much to worry about. Sorry, AP, no need to suit back up this weekend. We'll catch you outdoors, brother. But yeah, already a lot of talk this week about a mud race, this and that. Everybody always freaks out when you see those raindrop icons on the weather app, but it's not too bad. I don't think it's too much of a cause for concern. I think it's going to be just fine. And now let's get into our track preview and our track breakdown for round 15 in Philly that's going down this weekend. I think it's going to be another one that's been on the shorter side, shorter lap times, maybe lower 50s, higher 40s, something like that. But you guys are never going to guess it. The start is right down the middle, just like always. It's in the contract now, but about a medium length start straight into a sweeping left-handed first corner. Puts you right into the first rhythm section on the track. I think off the start, you're going to roll in and probably just fight for survival, but probably double in, then table over single, and then triple out if you're up front. If you're in the back, just try not to bang bars and lock bars at the National and get into any carnage. Nobody wants that, but then you're in your first bull corner, 180 on the track, a left-hander, and then you're right into another rhythm section. This one has the potential for a massive quad guideline. Maybe you could go triple in and then quad over the 5-footer, over all 3 of those 3-footers, so that would be massive. We saw one of those in Arlington earlier this year, so maybe that could be a line, but depending on how they build it and how the track forms, maybe a little bit more of a realistic line could be a 2-3-2 or a 2-2-3, but maybe we'll see some people let the balls hang. Stay tuned. But then we got another bull corner, this one to the right. That puts you into our whoop section, and if they go off the map, we're actually going to have a couple of extra whoops this weekend. I think I'm counting 12 on there, so that's a little better than the 9 that we've been accustomed to over the last year or so. Maybe we'll see a couple of extra passes, maybe some people running up alongside each other with the extra whoops. But the only problem is right after the whoops, you got a 90-degree corner to the left, and I'm pretty sure everybody's just going to skim those whoops, start slowing down towards the end, and then stay tight on that flat inside, back onto the start straight. There's not really going to be much of a reason to use that berm, so maybe you could rip the whoops like nobody's business, slingshot that berm, and cut back across to the inside for that next corner. Maybe that's a passing spot, maybe not, but I think the 90 right after the whoops eliminates a little bit of that passing opportunity there, but then you're back across the start straight, little check single into another 90-degree corner to the left. Then you got a little pop double, basic Supercross triple, yacht, even though they almost always make it into a double now. All the maps have had triples on it, but every weekend we show up and it's a double. Stay tuned to that one, but then right after that triple or double, we got a bit of a unique section, a little bit of a split section here. You got an inside berm, outside berm, option lane. I'm thinking the inside, you'll probably go step on, step off, and then double, or you can go way wide around the outside with the Trailer Park Girls and go step over the tabletop and then triple. Obviously that inside's looking good for that first section. You're cutting a lot of distance off, but if you go step on, step off, and then double, you're going to have to do that double off of a 5-footer, so that's going to slow you down, rob a lot of momentum, where if you go around the outside, you lose some time in that corner, but then you go step over and then triple off of a 3-footer, so a lot more momentum in that second half of the section from the outside, but the inside will be a lot faster in the first half of that section, so hopefully we could see some good back and forth action through there, but that puts you into almost a 180 to the right, a bull turn, back onto the start straight, and we got another one of these weird little chicane things where the track loops back in and connects into the rest of the section, so I expect it to be pretty one line through there, probably going to hug the bales and then enter wide into that final corner, but that one's another bull corner to the right, and then we got our finish line, basic yacht, land that, 180 bull corner to the left, and then you got a triple double or a double triple. I don't know what else they could possibly do through there, so I'm thinking it's going to be one of those two. And then after that, you got a little inside option single and then a pop double. So you could either go tight, lose a little bit of momentum over that option single, or you could go wide, rail the berm, and then hit that double back onto the into the first rhythm section. Maybe you could OJ that double around the outside to just try to make up for a little bit of that distance lost if you don't go inside. But hopefully that keeps the line choices open, but then you're right back into that first rhythm. And we talked about the options off the start, but I think for the rest of the lap, you'll probably try to soak up that first one and then triple onto the tabletop, step off, and then triple out. But yeah, that's a lap around round 15 in Philly. I'm not trying to give away my next couple of track previews, but I think this is the last decent track we have of the year. The last two aren't really anything to write home about, but yeah, I think this one should be some decent racing. But now let's check out what it looks like virtually from our POV from MX Simulator without a choice. then last but not least, real quick, my predictions for the weekend. I've already rambled on long enough, so I'll just hit you with them fast. For the 250 class, I'm going with Cole Davies for the win. I don't think he quite wraps up the championship, but I think he gets another win under his belt. He's just been the best guy all season, and I don't really know if I see that changing. For the 2 spot, I got Seth Hammaker. He's got a home race this weekend, so he's going to have a lot of fans backing him, a lot of extra motivation, but I think it might take a little bit more of the motivation to take down Cole Davies. The dude's on another level, and he's been tough to hang with, so I got Davies 1, Hammaker 2, and then Thrasher in the 3 spot. He's been thrashing. He's been coming on strong the second half of the season, and he's coming off of a win, so he's peaking right at the end of the season, and I think he gets himself back on the box, but that's the 250 class. Then in the 450 class, I'm going to go with Ken Roczen, keeping the momentum up and getting another win. I feel like he's a little better when the tracks are softer on this East Coast, so I think he uses that to his advantage and gets another win this weekend with Hunter Lawrence right there in the 2 spot. This championship's down to these two, so I feel like when that happens, the 2 guys that are in the championship, they usually elevate themselves over the rest of the field, so I feel like it's going to be a Roczen Hunter 1-2. And then I got Cooper Webb in the 3 spot. Definitely hasn't been the season I expected out of Cooper Webb, but he did get on the podium at the Triple Crown last weekend, and he definitely hasn't given up. Cooper Webb doesn't do that, so I think he gets it back on the box. No choice, but yeah, for this week's video, that's all I got for you guys. Really appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in, and as always, please let me know in the comments what you thought of the video, if you liked it, if you disliked it, if you agree with my takes, if you disagree with my takes, if I'm just a cooked unit, if the videos suck, if you want to be negative, throw hate comms. I really don't care. It's all just engagement for me anyway at the Nationals, so I'll take what I can get. Thank you guys again. Really appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Free of choice.